What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're taking a look at Deadpool, the 8th installment into the Fox X-Men franchise and spin-off of said franchise. Deadpool is the first X-Men movie to come post the Days of Futures Past movie in 2014. Okay, let's waste no time. Let's get right into this. So, after Deadpool's big debut in the 2009 X-Men Origins movie, we got a taste of what Ryan Reynolds can bring to the character, and he was an overall standout. Of course, in the years since that movie, it took forever to get Deadpool off the ground, mainly because 20th Century Fox had no confidence in the character. So it took leaked footage, it took the creators of Zombieland, and it took Ryan Reynolds along with Tim Miller and these four people pretty much just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until they finally were able to get this movie made and finally got to get it released. And lo and behold, the movie was a smash success. The movie is a hell of a lot of fun. And what makes Deadpool such a fun and good movie is that it embraces the goofy and silliness of the Deadpool character, but it also tells a pretty damn simple good story. This is a revenge/love story. And for the most part, Paul Rennick and Rhett Reese, the writers of Zombieland, and Tim Miller, along with Ryan Reynolds, they did a really good job with the first Deadpool movie. I love the first DP movie. I loved it when I saw it in 2016, and I still love it now, a couple of years after the fact. Like, this movie is still a hell of a lot of fun. Is it perfect? No, it's not. You know, it does have some, I do got some little nitpicks here and there, but as an overall package, does that take away from my enjoyment of it? Absolutely not. No, like I said, DP1 is still a lot of fun. So let's just break it down positive-wise. So let's just get into it. The overall cast of this movie is great. It's very tight. It's very simple. You have Ryan Reynolds, who plays the titular character of Wade Wilson, Deadpool, and you can tell by his performance on screen that he's having a blast finally getting a chance to play this character in a full-length movie, and he's owning every single scene he's in. This, to me, is probably Ryan Reynolds' best performance in any movie he's ever done, mainly because in every single movie he's been in, he's Wade Wilson. Like, Ryan Reynolds, he is the real-life counterpart of Wade Wilson. If Wade Wilson was a real person, it would be Ryan Reynolds. Their personalities, the way their personalities match is just scary. Their sardonic sense of humor, they both got that sardonic sense of humor, and it works. Ryan Reynolds' sensibilities and charisma matches that of Wade Wilson, and you can clearly see that in this first movie. You could also see that in Origins, but in this you see even more. He's getting a chance to do it full length, and he's owning every single scene he's in. He plays the comedy great. He plays the more dramatic, darker moments really, really well. But he also still maintains that signature sense of humor, where even though he's being put in these dark, foreboding situations, he's still going to crack jokes. He's still going to get under your skin. He's still going to be the asshole that is Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds plays it to perfection, absolutely well. And I love the chemistry that he has with a lot of the cast members. Maureen Baccarin, who plays Vanessa, she's also played Leslie Tompkins in the Gotham TV show. She plays the love interest, Vanessa. And the chemistry of Reynolds and Baccarin is really damn good. And I like Wade and Vanessa as a relationship. And if these two did not work as an on-screen couple and romance, this movie would have fell apart. Because Deadpool's whole motivation is based on being reunited with Vanessa. So if these two did not have the chemistry they did, this movie would have failed. And just from the first interaction with these two, instant chemistry. You get why they're into one another. You get that the love they feel for one another is so genuine. Now they're like Vanessa is pretty much a call girl / stripper, and Wade Wilson is a former special forces operative who now does like these small time favors, sticking up for little people. These are not people you're gonna bring home to mom and dad, but they find comfort in one another, and I love it. Their relationship is near perfection. And the montage scenes of them having sex to different months, to different holidays, is absolutely hilarious. To the song "Calendar Girl," it's goofy, but it's funny as all hell. And like I said, Ryan Reynolds and Vanessa Baccarin and Marina Baccarin are clearly having a lot of fun playing these two characters, and their relationship it works for me. It's a sweet relationship. It's so good, really, really good. you have Ed Skeren, who plays the villain Ajax, and I like the villain of Ajax. He's not as intimidating as other X-Men villains that came before him, but for the purposes of this story, it works. He pretty much heads up this workshop that pretty much tries to enhance a mutation within people, and he does that by doing extreme methods of torture and things like that. And it's all done under the guise of thinking you're going to be a superhero, but you're really going to be a super slave. And I like Ajax. His motivations are very, very simple. Like, he doesn't have there's nothing really complex about him. I mean, I do like how his mutation gives him enhanced reflexes, but it also cut off his nerves, so he can no longer feel any pain or feel anything at all. And I just thought, I mean, yeah, Ajax can come across as one-dimensional. Like, he's the villain that Deadpool at the end has to take down. He's the villain that gave Deadpool his powers and also ruined his life. So that's where the revenge part of the story comes from. And like I said, Ajax ain't gonna be winning the villain of the year, but for the purposes of this movie and the small scale nature of it, it works. Like, it works for me. It works for the most part. And Ed Skeren is clearly enjoying himself playing the villain. He's hamming it up, and you can tell he's having a good time. And I do like the fight sequences between Ajax and Deadpool. I think they're very stylish. They're very creative, especially the scene where Deadpool, especially in the scene in the burning workshop, where Deadpool and Francis, who Deadpool constantly jokes about Ajax's real name, they have a fight while the workshop is being engulfed in flames. That's very entertaining and very, very and crosses that moment and has one of those moments of grimness that this film does to step into. Then you get the big climax at the end where they have a good old fashioned sword fight, which is also very entertaining. So yeah, like, even though Ajax as a villain and character isn't the most creative or memorable, he does have some memorable fight scenes. So you can't take away from him. And the actor is clearly enjoying himself. You have Gina Carano, who plays Angel Dust, who is the heavy for Ajax. And Gina Carano, she doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot in terms of the acting department, but she does bring a strong physical presence, and she does have some pretty decent, entertaining action sequences. I like the interactions that she has with Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who are the two X-Men that make appearances in this movie. I like those, but those scenes come at the tail end of the film. But I enjoyed it for the most part. And I also like the joke about how her blouse comes undone and Colossus, being a gentleman, is like, you have to fix this. Like, I enjoyed that stuff. And that's in line with Colossus's character as him being a more gentleman person. Speaking of which, let's talk about Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Colossus. I actually think it was pretty cool to have Colossus be one of the X-Men that Deadpool interacts with. Like, you could have easily done something with a more established name, like a Cyclops. Everyone, of course, wanted to see Wolverine, but I think Colossus being the choice is better, because Colossus is the exact opposite of Deadpool. While Deadpool is crude and violent, Colossus is the exact opposite. He's more polite, he's more motivational, and he doesn't believe in killing. And the personalities surprisingly bounce off one another, and I love the constant ribbing that Deadpool gives Colossus. And I overall just enjoy the two actors who portrayed Colossus. Like, I like the motion cap artist who gave Colossus his physical presence, and I like the voiceover of Stephen Kapik, who voiced Colossus. He gave him his signature Russian accent. He gave him Colossus' comic book personality, and it works. And not only that, the CG on Colossus looks really damn good, very comic book accurate. And he does have some fun little moments in this movie as well towards the end. But like I said, Colossus' best stuff is the bantering with Deadpool, and him trying to convince Deadpool to be an X-Men. I thought that stuff was a lot of fun. And I also like I said, in Teenage Negasonic Warhead, her being the moody teen and her and Deadpool bouncing off, that was also a lot of fun as well too. So this stuff, it works for me. I enjoyed it a lot. And then you have supporting cast rounded out by Tim Miller, who played Weasel, who was like Deadpool's only best friend. They have some funny moments with one another. When Wade Wilson gets all chewed up and scarred up, he gets a roommate with this woman named Blind Al, played by Leslie Uggams. They have some good bantering here and there as they're sharing an apartment together. Like the interactions that Deadpool has with a lot of the characters, they work for me, and I enjoyed them a lot. In terms of this movie's production value, this movie is fantastic. This movie looks great. It's got that stylish comic book like look. I think the violence in this movie is well done. This movie is rated R, but it feels more like a soft PG, like a hard PG-13 that crosses over into a hard R. Like this movie does not have like extreme violence, so to speak. I mean, if you count the freeway scene, yeah, that's probably the most violence you'll get in this entire movie. But it's done in such a stylish and goofy, over-the-top way that you can't take it seriously, and you're laughing while these people are being killed because it's so goofy. So I thought that was actually a very clever way to pretty much turn the extreme violence into something very comedic. So I thought that was actually pretty clever and creative to me personally. But throughout the rest of the movie, the violence really isn't all that hardcore. This movie does cross over into a lot of themes. Like, it does deal with Wade Wilson developing cancer, which is what leads him to go to the super facility as a way to get cured from his cancer. But it ends up unlocking a gene mutation within him that does cure his cancer, but for every cure there's a catch, and the catch is that it chewed up and scarred up his body. And this is what led him to want to get the revenge on Francis. So, like, the movie touches on that. The movie touches on Wade's isolation once he escapes from the workshop, and him wanting to be with Vanessa, but because he looks the way he looks, he knows he can't do that, which is what inspires him to want to get the costume that he has now. And of course, this is what breaks his mind, and he ends up being the merc with the mouth, the mile-a-minute breaking of the fourth wall lunatic. By the way this movie breaks the fourth wall is hilarious. Most of the jokes I endure, with my favorite one being when Colossus wants to take Deadpool to see the professor, and he's like, which one, McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines can be so confusing. I love that little bit. And I love the constant joke about the X-Mansion being blown up, and how Deadpool constantly remarks, it's funny, the studio couldn't afford to get more than 2 X-Men. And like this movie has a lot of really funny fourth wall breaking jokes, and for the most part it does balance it out. And I like how only Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and everyone around him is completely oblivious to the fact that he's doing it. I also think that was a very clever way to do it. Like, everyone else around him, everyone else is in a real situation, while Deadpool's the only one who knows that he's in a movie. That was clever, and the way they handled it did not seem forced or cheesy. It was like the most natural way possible to make something like that work. And I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's really what the first Deadpool movie is. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. Like, I have very few flaws with this thing. If I were to have flaws, the villain could have been a little bit more complex instead of being one-dimensional. But that's pretty much it. I have zero hate for Deadpool. I love the first Deadpool movie. It's near perfection. I love how the movie is not told in chronological order. It's told in the present day and through flashbacks. It's told, and during key moments, during key situations that Deadpool faces, he'll have a flashback to his former life that fills in the gaps of his backstory. I love the comedic bantering he has with the cab driver Dolphinder, how he convinces him to kidnap his cousin Bamboo, so that way he can get his girlfriend Gita. I love the running gag of him constantly forgetting his gun, of him constantly forgetting his weapons bag, and him having to improvise on the spot. That stuff's hilarious. I mean, yeah, if anything, the Ajax villain could have been a little bit more fleshed out. Gina Carano's Angel Dust could maybe have a little bit more development. And maybe you could have added maybe another X-Men movie, another X-Men character. Maybe not someone of a high ranking order, but maybe you, instead of just having Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, maybe you could have added someone like I don't know. Maybe you could have added someone like a Gambit, someone like a Gambit or someone like that. Or maybe no, don't do Gambit. Don't do Gambit. We did Gambit and Oranges and Origins, and everyone cried foul. Maybe you should just leave it as Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Strike what I said from the record books. But yeah, the first Deadpool movie is a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Still enjoy it to this day. It's great. Which is why I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. This movie continues the hot streak that began with First Class and gets even better. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Deadpool. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe. I'll check you back next time for more.